The Oklahoma City Thunder have completed locking in their core to long-term extension, signing Jalen Williams to a 5-year, full guaranteed max, $287 million max. We'll talk a little bit about that and why a lot of NBA fans are starting to say that the Thunder are cooked. We'll talk about why that may not be the case despite the second tax apron. We'll talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Oklahoma City Thunder have signed Jalen Williams to a full 5-year max of $287 million. Now, keep in mind, the OKC Thunder have been on a spending spree this season after winning the title. They want to make sure they got everybody locked in. They have now long-term commitments from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's locked in. Jalen Williams is locked in. Chet Holmgren is locked in, right? And this core is going to be playing together for the foreseeable future. 26 years old for Shai, 24 years old for Jalen Williams, 23 years old for Chet Holmgren. And, you know, a lot of people are now talking about what this means as far as salary-wise for that Thunder team, especially considering the second tax apron, and how it's going to be a lot more difficult to now have multiple players making, $50 million and things like that. And so when you look at it now, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, when his extension kicks in, he's going to be making $60 million in 2027-28. Chet Holmgren is going to be making $44 million when his extension kicks in. And Jalen Williams, who kicks in a year early next season, he's going to be making $41 million, but $44 million once Shai's and Chet's also kick in, right? That's tremendous money when it's come down to it. And it's naturally led a lot of people to ask themselves, like, all right, what is the future of this Thunder team? And are they cooked? There's a lot of people in the comment section after Chet's deal that automatically had the Thunders being a cooked team in regards to that. And I don't understand where that's coming from. I get that the second tax apron is a thing, right? And I do think that teams, because of the tax bill that's implicated in that, unless they are a championship contender, are going to be looking at it and saying, do we really want to pay this? But if the Thunder are, they sit in a unique place, because if they are building this potential dynasty, which they do have a chance to build with the talent that they have there, the youth that they have there, hell, the draft picks that they still have all coming in here when it's all said and done as well. With all of that they have, they aren't the Phoenix Suns. They're not the Boston, even the Boston Celtics before Jason Tatum's injury, probably in a decent spot, but they're not even that. And here's the reason why. Here's what's different between where the Thunder are and where the Suns or the Bucks or any other second tax apron team was. One, hey, most of their players are all young, and they still have tons of players that have tremendous upside that are still on rookie scale contracts. For example, they just drafted Thomas Sorber, who within 2 years, after the 2 years left on Isaiah Hartenstein's deal, he could be the replacement for Hartenstein, and he'll be on a rookie scale deal for another 2 years and then go into restricted free agency. That's probably not going to be ridiculous when that comes down to it, right? So you have that part of it. You have Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, who you just locked into a contract extension. He's not making that much money. Aaron Wiggins is locked in as well. He's only making $8 million on a declining scale contract in the 2028-29 season. And you know what this is? Is that because the Thunder have so much youth on their team and so many draft picks, the second tax apron is restricted for a few reasons, right? It locks you into your roster. But when your roster is filled with young players and you already have draft picks locked in, you're okay being locked into that roster, right? You're more okay and open to being locked into that, because guess what? The draft picks that you have, especially the ones that aren't yours, just become more valuable. Whether they're more valuable for you to trade that with the younger player coming off a contract and going out there and getting something that you're missing, or if it's just taking that young player. And keep in mind, even with this, the Thunder, for example, have multiple first-round picks that they could have next year. Multiple that they could have. They could have the Rockets pick, the Clippers pick they're going to have regardless. They could have the Miami Heat pick. They can have the Philadelphia 76ers pick, even though that's 1 through 4. We'll see what happens there. They can have the Utah Jazz pick. Now, even if the Thunder don't want to take those picks, depending on where they are, they can trade those assets to a team for future draft assets and kick those draft assets down the road. They have multiple first-round picks of each of the next 4 drafts. So, and that's either adding young, cost-effective talent, or that's then trading that to a team and getting draft picks back, or something that you need. So while I'm not saying for 100% that they're just okay, it's going to be okay, shut up, stop worrying about it, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm just saying if they play this thing right, they could be the team that can look at the second tax apron and say, okay, because they could be in a place where they could pay their top 4 players ridiculous money and just keep re-upping. And they've been so smart about drafting, so smart about developing that as long as they can keep hitting on that, then look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing when it comes down to it. And we haven't even mentioned, the ability to draft and stash, which they could do as well if they want to start adapting that kind of mindset. So the Thunder aren't completely cooked here, as some people are thinking with their salary books just because of the second tax apron. Now, don't get me wrong. It's going to mean that they are going to have to. It's going to put an even bigger emphasis on them being smart. They're going to lose their mid-level exception. They're going to lose the ability to aggregate salaries. They're going to lose those type of things. But when you have the number of draft picks that the Thunder have coming in there each and every year, I'm looking at it and saying they may not be all in that bad of a place. And keep in mind, this team is still under the first tax apron up until 2028. So it's not like they're really at the precipice of touching. Now, as you keep re-signing more guys, of course, you get closer and closer to that. But this is a Thunder team that it could not only buck the trend as far as drafting talent well and developing well and being able to keep your roster together, but also because of all the draft picks that they have, even if they get locked into this roster, if the NBA, if they get into that second tax apron and it's you can't make anything happen, guess what? We still got Rockets picks coming in here, right? And, we'll see what happens with that. We still got Philadelphia 76ers picks coming in here. We got Clippers picks coming in here. We got a 76ers pick over the next couple of years. We got a Denver Nuggets pick, a Dallas Mavericks pick. We got some picks coming in here. And if you play that smart, even if you don't use all those picks, you can aggregate that to get other things. They're not stopping you from aggregating draft picks. So that is what the Thunder, and that's why they're taking a calculated risk on this. And then keep in mind, even if worst case scenario, let's say the worst case scenario that they find themselves much like the Boston Celtics or Pacers or something like that, or the Celtics, right? And you have to make a decision to where now you're like, all right, we got to move off of one of these big name guys. I don't see Chet Holmgren's draft or trade value going down anytime soon. I don't see Jalen Williams' trade value going down anytime soon. Alex Caruso, a little bit older player, cool. Aaron Wiggins, 27 years old. They got some time to wiggle that. Again, declining salary. They have thought about this. When you look at the books, for example, of the OKC Thunder and have all their salaries in front of you, you can see how they have been actually preparing for this. They have been preparing for a world in which they were going to have to extend all these guys, and it's evident. That's what Sam Presti has done here. That's what's been so special about what this Thunder team has done over the years is that it's not just luck. There's always some luck. Like Shai turning into the player that he turned into when you got him in that Paul George trade, that is a little bit of luck. But even then, when you look at the smart decision that Sam Presti has gone out and done, you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt of, hey, he may just be smarter than everybody else. He may just be smarter than the field. And if that's the case, I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But you guys can let me know how you feel about it. Jalen Williams getting his contract extension, which is huge. It's great to see that young man get paid. And now the OKC Thunder are going to have some things to look at for in upcoming years. But really, it's really not a problem with them until the 2028-29 season. That's when it becomes a huge problem for them. I guess the 2028-29 season, the summer of 2028, because are you going to extend Isaiah Hartenstein? Are you going to extend Lou Dort? Right? Those are questions that are coming up at the end of the 27-28 season, and we'll see what happens there. But you guys can let me know how you feel on that down below. As always, let's move on. Giannis Antetokounmpo, when asked about remaining with the Milwaukee Bucks, said a simple "we'll see." Now, that is something to say. And this is I Show Speed. He was in a conversation with I Show Speed, who annoys me. I know I'm getting old. It is what it is. But he said, I Show Speed said, so you staying in Milwaukee? Giannis Antetokounmpo? Probably. We'll see. And listen, that's not like it's the most adamant answer, right, that you can take to the bank and things like that. But I think that plays into what I've been saying a while for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is going to be watching this and watching the field to see what happens, what develops here, and what turns out, and how good the Milwaukee Bucks, the front office, continues to make moves. And that's a place in power that has his right to be in, with staying with that franchise, winning a title with that franchise. I know a lot's going to be made about that and Giannis' decision, because it should. If Giannis wakes up one day and says, you know what, I gave everything I could here in Milwaukee. I appreciate you guys trying to make moves. I appreciate Miles Turner, who reportedly was in conversation with Giannis leading up to signing the deal. I appreciate all that happening. But I want to chase rings before the end of my career, which as a player gets over 30, that's when sometimes some of that stuff starts they start coming to realizations on certain things. And if he gets to that point and he's like, listen, it is what it is. I'm going to be at the point where I want to try to go out there and win a ring. I want to join a team that I feel like we can, and we'll see, right? We'll see. Giannis also talked about being recruited by the Knicks, and he said this. A lot of people try to convince me to go play there and stuff. While on one hand, it's not him saying that he doesn't want to do anything, but be in Milwaukee, it does explain that why teams are keeping a very close eye on the situation. That last part came from Windhorse. And we'll see. Like, Giannis has not really provided a huge amount of clarity. He hasn't provided an adamant stance on, no, I want to be in Milwaukee. It is I'm waiting and seeing what's going to happen. I'm surveying the thing, and I'm going to make a smart and intelligent decision about my future. And I don't know how people can blame him for that. I can't blame him for that. Nobody should really be blaming Giannis Antetokounmpo for that, because that is something that he has earned through his years of service and what he's done in the city of Milwaukee. He has earned the right to be in that place and to make that decision for his future. And we'll see how it all shakes out here. You guys know how I feel about that. With that said, talking about contract decisions, right? Luka Dončić, it came out that Luka Dončić could be waiting until mid-September to make a decision on his future with the Los Angeles Lakers and a contract extension there. This comes from Brian Windhorse as well, who says this. The number one most important thing for the Lakers this offseason is getting Luka Dončić into a contract extension, which they can do after August 2nd. And I'm going to sound this warning now. He's probably not going to sign August 2nd. He's going to be playing with Slovenia national team until mid-September, and he may not entertain the issue until he comes back to the U.S. At that time. So it could be a long wait, but make no mistake, this offseason is not about LeBron for the Lakers. It's about Luka. We've known that. And I don't mean that to like throw a shot at Windhorse at all there, but we knew that. We knew that this, like, it's been a clear shift. This is no longer about LeBron James and just LeBron James' future. The Lakers are looking at now what they have with Luka, and that could be a reason why they're looking at everything in 26, 27, things like that, to try to get to a point where they also have to convince Luka to stay. And I don't know how people can blame them for that. I don't know how anybody can blame Luka for that. Like, I get it. It's the Lakers. It's the prestige, and they're going to offer him the money. He's going to stay. Like, I just don't see Luka leaving there. If he does, it'd be almost just as big of a surprise as when he was traded. But when it comes down to it, Luka is going to have to he's going to make the decision that's best for him. And the Lakers are going to have to show that they are willing to just like they went out and got AD. They're going to have to show that they are willing to make the correct moves to build the team around Luka that Luka is going to need to be successful. Luka isn't LeBron James. He doesn't need some of the same type of players, but Luka is going to need what Luka needs to be able to be the player that he wants to be in this league and to be able to win titles. And, you know, hearing that the Lakers also, like, there's some question on, is Jenny Buss actually still going to be in control with the title of governor, or are the new owners really the ones running the show? Whatever happens there, best believe Luka is watching all of this. And if it seems to be turmoil and a level of like nobody knows what's going on here, who's running the show, you could very well alienate Luka Dončić in that case. And if you do, then what do you do? Like, because the last thing you want is a Luka who says, I'm not signing a contract extension here. I'm going to go to unrestricted free agency. I'll give you an opportunity to make your pitch, but I'm going to hear from all the teams. I'm going to give teams a chance to recruit me and tell me why their team is the place where I can win a title at. Now, I expect Luka to stay in Los Angeles. I want to be clear there. But as we've seen around the league, you can never say never. You just can't. There's an impossibility to say never on anything in this league, because you just never know how things are going to shake out. So hearing that Luka is, you know, keeping his cards close to the vest and trying to figure out what's going to go on there, I don't blame Luka for it one bit. But you guys can let me know how you feel about it down below. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. I'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.